I know where you're going. I know the way you feel. I know what you want. Baby, it's hard to believe.
Things I find interesting and color photography.
Hey folks, welcome back. Today we have a crooner and finger picker of a level I will never ever reach. Somebody who's got their own style of finger picking. And finger picking is a very personal, all guitar playing is, but finger picking is so much about the rhythm of the mind and the mechanics of the hand, more so than using a pick. When you're doing a finger pick, there's a whole different level of personality going into it, and the people that can do it well really stand out. Now myself, I have never done finger picking in my life. A few years back I wrote a song called Lost Without the Girl, and I just kind of invented one pattern, and that's the only pattern I know, and I can shift that pattern around. But I only learned one pattern self-taught. But someone like John has got a whole different level of style and personal element in the way he does it. It's always hard to describe this kind of thing. So I guess maybe I'll just shut up and let John show you.
Hi, I'm John Gracie, and this is my Taylor All Mahogany 528E Taylor guitar. Well, I picked this up at Long and McQuaid. I was told I was the only person that ever played it, except for the guy that tuned it as they hung it on the wall. I picked it up right after he put it on the wall. And I liked it because it had the deep sound that a mahogany would give you. Even a deeper sound since the strings haven't been changed for a while. But it's counterbalanced by the fact that it has all Taylors have a bright. And I especially like it because I do very little strumming. Most of the playing I do is finger picking. And I'm a very gentle player, so having that brightness is a bonus for me, because then I can lay back. And that's the beauty of a mahogany. Yeah, my main guitar is the Taylor 810 Brazilian rosewood, and there is a difference. You can really feel and hear the difference when you're playing it. The separation of the frequencies, the tones and stuff is quite different. But if you like the burly sound, if you like that low, nothing gives you that like a mahogany does, in my humble opinion anyway. But I think some mahoganies, I've played other mahoganies, and they ditch out in the lower end. They kind of, this is still a separate but a low attitude on the sound, I find. But it's still, you can still hear the difference within that lower range. You can still hear the separation. And then when you get to the higher end, so I think it's a good combination. If you're into mahogany and that deep sound, it's a great combination. I've played other mahoganies where the tone doesn't change, it just stays dark all the way through, and I'm not a fan of that. I like to have the bright end at the other end. So that's what I liked about this guitar, and I still like about it. It's and the look. The only thing about a look like this is if you buy it and it doesn't look like all your other guitars, your wife is going to say, "Where did the new guitar come from?" So that's the risk of buying something that's looks a little different.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's a true story.
I know that story
I wouldn't
well.
lie to you.
I try to keep enough that it looks confusing.
Well, yeah, or it could be somebody else's.
Yeah, yeah. And there are a few of those around here.
I'm a traditionalist. I like the guitar, acoustic guitar, sounding acoustic. I plug it in because it's necessary. But I don't deal with any effects. I don't do a little bit of reverb every now and then, but I don't use any kind of synthesizer or anything to enhance the sound beyond trying to get a true acoustic tone to it. The influences would be folk singers, the likes of like Gordon Lightfoot, some Bob Dylan, Cat Stevens. It's all about the acoustic guitar for me. I don't think I've ever played an electric guitar. I don't have the touch for it. I'm sure I could develop one, but everything for me is about the sound of the wood. Not that I'm a connoisseur or anything, because I'm not. But I know what I like, and I've picked up really expensive guitars and played them, and they weren't my cup of tea. And then I've picked up average guitars and thought they sounded better than the expensive ones. I do like it because of the finger picking thing. As a strumming instrument, you can hear how the high end jumps out from the low end, even with a strong low end guitar. So that, because a lot of the time all I'm doing with that finger, I'll just give you the finger, is and I've learned how to play gently on that. Now I find myself, even when if I had a pick and I was strumming, I'd be muting most of the time, not clean playing. Kind of like the Nashville players when they play, they don't hit the low end, they hit the high end. Get the ching ching ching, and they leave the bass out so that it doesn't muddy up the mix. I kind of play that way. But it's a nice guitar. It's well, I've had it since 2013, so 5 years.
Is that a long time for you to have a guitar?
No, I've had, well, before I started buying guitars, I had an old Yamaha. Don't ask me what it was, the make. I don't know. But it weighed a ton. I mean, it weighed a lot. And then I had an Epiphone 12-string. That was a nightmare because it had the braces on the bottom, the brace here where you hook the strings up. So if you tuned the low end, this would go like this, and then you tune the high end, and it would go like that. And you were constantly compensating. And then you walk out on stage or you go outside and you're back to square one because it all moved and changed. So I gave that one away really as quickly as I could. But the Yamaha for me for years was my go-to guitar. Mostly because I had it and I really didn't know much difference. Then about a Norman, I really liked the Norman there for a while. I had had that one stolen on me. Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. You know what I mean. Give your eyes really see. A rainy city street on a frozen muddy ground. Sirens in the air, splashing on my feet. Pain upon the faces of the people that I meet. On my last album, which is called Hollow Street, I ended up not using this guitar. Actually, I ended up using the 810, the Brazilian rosewood one, because I was playing it at the time and I fell in love with it, and so I ended up not using this guitar. Trouble's hanging round my door. Trouble's hanging round my door, like I have 1,000 times before. Help me get myself off the floor. That's what I like about is the gentleness with which you can play these guitars, and you still get sound. If I did that on some of the other higher end guitars or high end guitars with this, you would lose a lot of the definition, I find, between the bass and the now that's exaggerated with this one because it's a mahogany.
Fabulous.